Three, two, one. Welcome to another episode of the Kimchi Burger podcast, number 4. Recording this on Columbus Day, October 12th, now known as Indigenous Peoples Day. Kind of a funny way to change it, in my opinion, because instead of celebrating, the discovery of the new world, it's now, like mourning over all the indigenous people of the Americas and the Caribbean and South America, from the rule and oppression and disease that the old world brought. And it's kind of crazy because, disease is not like something to fuck with, like it is one of the, 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, plague. And, before we had medicine and science and research, when people got, diseases like cancers, they just thought it was God. It was God punishing you, or, like people just didn't know how they got diseases, and nobody knew about, sanitation or hygiene and anything. But and right now we are going through a pandemic with COVID-19. But of course, statistically speaking, if you compare it to, the Black Death or the Spanish flu, yellow fever, malaria, COVID-19 looks like a little fucking punk bitch. But, I'm not saying that the people that are affected by it or are suffering from it or are paranoid about it right now, that they have nothing to fear. Disease is disease. And you should all try to keep yourself healthy and, protect yourself from this until we find make a vaccine, and wait till herd immunity comes in, and yeah, and we'll get through this. However, it's just kind of a funny thing though, is that this is the 4th episode of uh, the Kimchi Burger podcast, and in Eastern Asian culture, the number 4 is a sign of omen, because the number 4 sounds like the word death in Chinese. And of course, like any pop culture, like, or superstition that starts in China will spread to the rest of Asia. And so, no guest today. Gonna be just doing this solo, pretty much just riffing, just talking about, Christopher Columbus. What a crazy dude, if you really think about it. Italian man, born in Italy, goes to Spain, marries a Spanish bitch, and tries to get money from like Spanish lords to travel, across the ocean, in search for a route to India, because the Chinese were, like keeping all their secrets to, Indian spices and silks all to themselves. And it's like hard as shit to go all across, all of Europe and Asia just to get some, garam masala. And this man was, one of the innovators. You know, in our perspective today, he is like a monster, but it it really does kind of show that how times have changed over the past 4 centuries. You know, if we really think about how long the lifespan of America as a country, it's not too long for how long the state has been. If you think about like China has been, a country and a civilization for millennia. Same for India and Egypt. But America, like in the grand scheme of things, like only being like 300 years old, still pretty, still pretty fresh. And like this guy just was crazy enough to think, hey, if we sail west, we're eventually gonna circle around and hit India and be able to make a lot of money because all the other European powers won't know these trade routes. And essentially, like, he was the flat earthers of today. He thought the world was round when everybody else thought you know the world was flat. And now 400 years later, it all goes back again. Now we have people actually legitimately believing the world is flat, and that the world being round is still fake news. But anyway, enough talking about mentally uh, ill people. uh, Christopher Columbus, he was an okay dude. Not great, not terrible. I mean, majority of indigenous people, they died through disease, like a good 90%. Like we fucked them up, or not we. I'm like, I'm Korean, so not my diseases. Um, but European diseases, yellow fever, measles, mumps, plague, shit fucked them up. And when you go to the new world, like Christopher Columbus did, and see all these new crops and animals and people and languages and cultures, this must be like traveling to a new planet. Like there's a there's a saying that if aliens ever do come to the Earth, they'd probably die from our diseases because they don't have the antibodies to protect themselves. And it's just kind of like happened with those indigenous people. The moment Christopher Columbus stepped into the Caribbean, that was it. Like everything was free game because it's so easy to conquer people when they're worried about their grandparents and their brothers and sisters and their children being sick. You can't raise an army if your army is just having is dying just every day from diseases, and there's no medical science or research to be able to prevent it. Vaccines weren't invented for the next like 300 years. I'm pretty sure vaccines only came around in 1900s. And it's it is kind of crazy to think that this is how the world how the new world started, was just one crazy dude who had a crazy idea and decided, fuck it, let's go for broke. Let's see what's on the other side. Let's see what's west. And I'm not trying to deify him, Christopher Columbus, or say he was a good dude who did the right things. He was just lucky. Man was fucking lucky to be able to go all that distance in the ocean, not starve to death, hit land, and be able to actually report back to Spain. And it just led to all of Europe pretty much just colonizing uh, North America and South America. And and then pretty much just their culture, the Spanish culture, because the Spanish were the first people to go to the Americas. That's why majority of South America and Mexico use Spanish as their language now. And it's just crazy to think that that's how much has changed, and it's only been 400 years, and with such exponential growth of trading and like cultural sharing and cultural refining, we wouldn't have a lot of things that we enjoy today if it wasn't for Christopher Columbus just having this stupid bullshit like want like reason to look for a trade route to India. Like it's fucking crazy. Like potatoes, tomatoes, corn, all that shit was from the New World. And imagine how many things we rely on today is is made from those products, like pasta sauce, French fries, potato chips, hot Cheetos, like all that shit. You have to thank Christopher Columbus for that. He had some, play in it. On the other side of that, you know, being able to eat great food and have essentially end world hunger in a sense, you know, we all they also it also started slavery, the African slave trade, because so many so many indigenous people from the Americas were just dying so often and so much from disease that they needed a workforce. And the like if you think farming is hard right like today, imagine like trying to farm rice, tobacco, and cotton like back like 400 years ago. Like people were gonna die. Like there's like snakes everywhere. There like people are dying from heat stroke. Like the Caribbeans is freaking brutal. Like I've been to the Bahamas and it's hot as fuck. Like down there, these white Europeans like used to their like rain and snow go to the islands and they're all just getting burnt the fuck up. So yeah, so they had to get Africans, and that of course like just led to a whole bunch of fucking shit, which I'm not gonna go into, but it's just crazy that this one man was the domino effect to slavery, cultural like transitions, a whole new empires building up, and it's crazy. It's so insane that this one man, just from his one reckless action, could cause all of this to happen. And now people don't want to call it Christopher Columbus Day. They want to change it because it deifies him. It praises him. But you gotta keep in mind that he is a product of his time, and we are products of our time. And there's gonna be a moment where people centuries from now are gonna look at us and probably think similar things, that we were irresponsible with our environment, that we could let atrocities that are happening today still happen today. While we speak, China is shipping Uyghur like Muslims to camps, and North Korea is still North Korea doing their North Korea thing. And maybe a couple hundred years from now, people are going to be asking us, why? How could we let this happen? How could we ignore these things? And it really just puts everything into perspective, and also makes you appreciative of what you have. I'm super appreciative of the science and the health medicines that we have today, because I don't have to worry about all these diseases that the indigenous people who lived in the Americas had to deal with. And just like extermination, man. Like I don't think there's any worst way of just seeing your community fall than fall through a plague, fall through disease. When people during the Black Death, they literally thought that the world was ending, that this was the apocalypse, that it was essentially God raining like fire down, hell and brimstone on the people. And it's a sad way to go, not knowing what's killing you, not knowing what's going to happen to you. And can you imagine if, you're the reason why your whole community, if you're patient zero and your whole community gets wiped out from a plague or a disease because of you, and you didn't even know it, it's just horrible and terrifying to think, but thank God we live in the society that we live in today. And I do hope that we can get through COVID-19. It's not like all the indigenous people in South America and America are gone. There are still, a handful. But it just kind of shows you that, there will be cultural change. But going back to Columbus, they named Colombia after Christopher Columbus. That's kind of a crazy thing. This man who just came from Spain and like just went across the ocean. You just name a whole country off of him, uh, just because of that one thing. He didn't even know where the fuck he was. He thought he was India. That's why he called the Caribbeans Indians. But yeah, and speaking of Colombia, I've been watching the Netflix series Narcos, and it's about Pablo Escobar and his cocaine, like Colombian drug trade in Medellin, and it's fucking phenomenal. It's amazing. Like if you're into like The Godfather and maybe even like Game of Thrones, like I would definitely recommend watching Narcos. It's fucking amazing. The acting is amazing. The the writing is great. The camera work is fucking fantastic. Like it makes you laugh, it makes you hyped, and just also the acting for the actor for Pablo Escobar he's a fucking champ, bro. Like he's amazing. Like he really sells it. Like when he gives you the death glare, where he just looks into the person that he's talking to, and you see his eyes flutter, like, whew, chills, fucking chills. And it's been a great show. Like I've been really enjoying it, watching Narcos, and in the camera shots where you just see all the beautiful landscapes of Colombia is phenomenal. Like Colombia is definitely a beautiful, beautiful fucking country. But you just realize like how filthy fucking rich this guy was. Like this guy was probably making billions, like almost like had almost billions of dollars during the 70s and 80s to the 90s. Like and he and he like covered all of this drug cartel shit with a taxi company. And like this guy has so much money that he had to bury that shit. And just pumping cocaine and giving it to to Florida, Miami. And of course, the cocaine doesn't just stay in Miami. It will go all the way to, to the New York, and then also go to LA. And just to know that this was the Colombians, like their way of like screwing over the Americans, from all the shit that America, does in South America. But it's just, and the fact that Pablo Escobar even had the fucking balls to do all the things that he did. And you just see in the show, you really do see him like degenerate, like degrade as a human being. Like you see that he is just trapped in this tunnel of being a bandit, and he's just not gonna ever redeem himself. He has to keep doing what he has to do because he's too far in. And it's a great show. Definitely recommend it if you're interested in, just watching. If everybody's heard about Pablo Escobar, but if you really want to know who this motherfucker was, definitely recommend watching Narcos. I just got done with season 1, and going on to season 2. And yeah, man, like it's just fucking great. Like such a good show. But other than that, not much has been going on. Been a little, stressed out, been working out, uh trying to be as consistent as possible. We're almost in the the second half of sober October, and you know, I feel like I've been doing okay. I can definitely tell my temper is a little bit more on the short side. Uh, but I'm dealing with it, and the sauna, working out, running definitely helps a lot, and just I feel better. My mind feels a little bit more clear. Um, and just to go on about, it's kind of hard watching Narcos when everybody's like smoking a joint or drinking or smoking a cigarette or like doing a line of coke. Like fuck, man. Like, whoo. Narcos definitely not the show you want to watch if you're prone to vices. but but yeah, it's been going okay. I've been definitely trying to find my own motivation through all this, just trying to test myself, build up that discipline that I feel like I want to build, especially because the time that I have right now because of COVID-19. Uh, Still no open mics for me to do stand up right now. The Laughing Skull, they're doing like COVID-19 like comedy shows and variety shows on the weekends, but can't really participate in those until I get, my start in open mics. So pretty much just still waiting until we can have people interact without wearing a mask, or we have fast, reliable testing of who has COVID and who doesn't. And it's been my writing for comedy has slowed down a bit just because I've been trying to do some other things. Um, Thursdays have been my Smash Ultimate commentary days, so just go to 404 and do that. Haven't gone in the past week or two due to some personal complications, and also last week the store was getting sanitized, so nothing I can do about that. But just trying to slowly, step by step, build up these skills, and just be really prepared and ready, and you know ready to hit the gas when COVID's over. I want to make 2021 as productive as possible from the get-go. And like it's not gonna be a simple stairway through to success. There's gonna be dips, and you know I've been feeling like right now I'm at a kind of a dip, but just trying to push through, be consistent, keep up my motivation for all of this. And yeah, if there are people out there, who are probably doing way worse than I am, you know, financially struggling way worse than I am, then I can bear with this, man. Like it's not it can't be that big of a deal, for me to get over this and get through this. But there's not really much else that I can really say that has been going on. Nothing too interesting. I am very excited though for the Korean Zombie Brian Ortega fight. Like, oh, it's gonna be hella hype. Can't wait. Korean Zombie is my favorite one of my favorite, MMA fighters. Have to rep that Korean pride. Guy's a fucking beast. You know, really hope that he he beats the shit out of Ortega. But you know, I really hope he wins. Uh, hope that it'll be a good match. And I just been really trying to get into watching MMA. Uh, you know, had to buy subscription for ESPN Plus and bought the Fight Pass so I can just watch more MMA whenever I have. And I think getting into MMA will, or at least watching it as a spectator, will help me develop my commentary skills for Smash Ultimate, since the closest sport that you can compare the fighting game community would be, mixed martial arts, or maybe boxing. But the UFC interests me a lot more than boxing. And it it's been, and also, if this inspires me to take up a martial art uh once COVID is over, then I think that's just all for the better. uh Gives me some cardio, gives me another skill that I can work on, build up social connections. And you know I'm the type of person that wants to be good at a lot of things. you know I don't want to dedicate myself to just one thing, because you know life is life is a wild and unique adventure, and I don't think you should like just tunnel yourself into one thing. you know just find whatever thing you like and try to be good, try to be a beast at it. Like, that's my thing. That's how I look at it in life. If you're gonna do something, try to be fucking hype, try to be a beast. you know get that clout. you know do something that'll get you make you a clip on like someone's Instagram page. Like, have that drive. I also think that it helps when maybe you have one thing kind of slowing down, or one thing that's kind of going down a little bit. Well, maybe you have something else in your life that's still improving, or improving a lot faster than you expected. And that's the kind of thing that people need. Humans need challenges, and they need struggle. We evolved as hunter gatherers, not knowing if the next day we're gonna get eaten by a fucking lion, if we're gonna break our leg, or lose an arm, or get a disease that we don't know where the fuck it came from. So granted, you don't have to worry about these things now, but we're still, psychologically, maybe like mentally wired that way. And, just find something that you want challenging. Like, you shouldn't be afraid of challenge and failure. You should be afraid of stagnation, of mediocrity. That's what I think. And it's just, all these things that I want to do, that I want to be better at, it's all just takes time, and it takes, consistency, discipline. And I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, or I'm doing amazing. I'm just doing the best I can. And, there are like going to be times where I won't have motivation. Right now, I think one thing I need to be a little bit more consistent on is streaming. Like, I really think I need to go and stream a bit more. Even though Smash Ultimate, like playing online, fucking sucks. You get laggy games, you get people who are just camping, and it's not too fun sometimes. But there are specks of fun in there. I just think the reason why it like it feels so demotivating is because one game of Smash is roughly 5 minutes, while one game of like League of Legends or Valorant is like 30 minutes. So when you get a loss, or a bad game, it fills up that time slot a lot, when 30 minutes is essentially 6 to 5 games of Smash Ultimate. And if 3 out of those, games feels pretty bad, you don't really care about the 2 games that were fun and exciting and challenging. But gotta find other ways to make content and stream. Uh, I've been thinking of just watching uh Smash Ultimate VODs and just muting it and just watching it and commentating it just to practice my Smash Ultimate commentary skills on stream. I think that would be a pretty good idea to do. That's something I've been doing just on my own off stream. So maybe getting an audience with it would make it a little bit more interactive and fun and more something that'll make it more motivating for me to do, while also building up my skill and uh, my comfort levels. Because I like to believe that I've always been an introverted, shy person. You know, uh, I was a kid who immigrated to America with my parents at a pretty young age. I like to believe that I'm pretty American, even though I wasn't born here. Um, and English wasn't my first language, so I had to develop English pretty fast because kids picked on me. I felt uncomfortable speaking. Like I was the kid that never wanted to read out loud. You know, like there would be there was like this thing in school, in elementary school especially, where uh, it was called popcorn, I think, where like it would go like in a row or alphabetically by your last name or something, and you would have to read like a page or like a paragraph in a book. Eh, and as a shy kid whose first language wasn't English, that was so much pressure and so like nerve-wracking. Just dreading when my name will be called and just feeling so much relief when it would be over, you know. But life's not about doing things that are easy and that you want to do. It's about doing things that will give you that challenge, get you out of your comfort zone, you know. And I think that's why I've been getting into podcasting, streaming, and I really want to do stand-up comedy because these are things that I never thought I would be doing as a child or like as a young adult. I mean, maybe not young adult, maybe like in high school, because I've been that shy, nerdy, fat Asian kid in school. But yeah, like it's just been something I've been working on and something that I've been, you know, setting myself up for years to do this now. And what a worse time to want to do it than, like than during a pandemic where we're all social distancing, not going out to live events, not traveling. But, there's a time and a place to start now. And it's better for me to start where I can feel like I'm getting practice any way I can, before everything gets going, because you know people have a lot of plans and events that they had for this year, and it's all gone, and it's been, I would say about 7 months, a little bit over half of the year already, and it's looking like we're not going to see normalcy until like at earliest February or March again. So yeah, just really wanting to, it's like just slowly my mentality has been getting kind of degraded. It's like, man, when is COVID gonna be over? When's COVID gonna be over? When's all this bullshit gonna be done with, But it's not something that I can just, like wake up one day and COVID's gonna be fucking done with. It's gonna take gradual time, you know? Like there are places in America that are opening up earlier than other places, and that is contributing to a lot of people, moving around in the States. And I do live in a state that's a little bit more, open. Like I am working for my family uh, at their restaurant, so we are doing social distancing and temperature checking, and I'm able to, go to the gym, get temperature check, wear a mask. So it's not like my life has been completely, blocked and negated. I don't feel completely just isolated in my house. But it's still going on. I can't ignore it, and I'm also worried about my own health and safety. And my girlfriend, she works in in the medical field, so she is around people who are diagnosed with COVID-19. So that did worry me for a little bit. But I always have to just keep everything in perspective. You know, like if we look at the statistics, COVID-19 ain't shit compared to malaria, yellow fever, and like the Black Plague. Like the percentage of people dying isn't what the media is probably telling you. Like it is not 1/10 of the population. It it isn't like the Black Plague where literally a fifth of everybody in a community was dead from the disease, where they had to have like carts uh, going around, like putting people in these carts just because there's so many dead bodies around, and they just dump them all in a ditch somewhere. It's not like that. Like shit could be way worse. I know it feels like it's pretty bad, but the reason why it just feels bad is because everything's closed and people are telling you not to work, and you're struggling because maybe you were already financially struggling before this pandemic, and now you're fucked. And a lot of the things that we used to enjoy, that we used to ignore, pain and stress, are is not able to be done anymore. Like one of my favorite things was being able to go to the movies. Like going to a movie theater, getting a drink, getting some popcorn with your friends or with your girlfriend, like watching a new movie that you've never seen before in the big screen. Like that was one of my favorite things, and now I can't do that anymore, and I haven't been able to since March. And it's disappointing. It's something I miss dearly. And film has always had a very special place in my heart. you know I think for a lot of immigrants, uh you learn English and you learn American culture through watching movies and films. And that's something that we can't do anymore. So there are things that I am greatly looking forward to, but also traveling. Like everyone's so scared to travel. Like even going through different states, like nobody wants to do it unless they have to for work or if they're moving. you know One of the things that I love doing every year was looking forward to an anime convention. you know Not just for Smash, because a lot of Smash ultimate tournaments, the majors, the big ones, were conventions where they set up a whole event just to have over 1,000 applicants, go in, and um, people traveling all across the states and from Mexico and Canada and Japan, coming to America, coming to a convention just to play a Nintendo party fighting game. Like it was great. You see some people, you see storylines and histories, and that's all gone right now, or maybe not gone, but on hold, on hiatus for whoever knows how long. But I don't want to really end this, no, this podcast on a depressing note. You know, it's just like what shit that happened with Columbus. Like positive things happened, negative things occurred, and I'm hoping that there's gonna be some positives that come out of this pandemic. You know, hard times make hard people, and you can either be one of those hard people that struggled, learned, endured, grown from this struggle and hard times, or you can be a cockroach who just barely survives, just skitters on the ground, just is unkillable, but not just never anything more than a cockroach. Like you can choose to be two things. So I guess that's how I'm gonna end the podcast. Don't be a cockroach. Be a fucking hard, badass motherfucker. Cause we're all gonna get through this. You know, I'm getting out of my comfort zone to be able to do this and doing the things that I am doing right now. Because, my dreams were put on hold too. Everything that I like to do is gone for now, but it's not gone forever. You know. All right. Have a great night, everybody. Happy Indigenous Peoples Day. Remember the Indigenous people that lost their lives for you to live the ones that you have.